Hello, my dear friends. You're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 23rd of August. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. First, we're going to discuss the report of Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. To tell the truth, their report was very interesting. Usually, the Ministry of Defense are talking about just the rocket impacts, about the artillery duels, about the drones that they managed to destroy. But this morning was a special report because they included a lot of information about Kherson and Nikolaev district. And that was very interesting. Now let's take a look at the map of this position and let's start. First of all, the Russians were talking about 28th this mechanized brigade, 28th mechanized brigade. This brigade is stretched all along the front line, and mainly the Russians were talking about this small town of the south of on the west area from Kherson, about this small town Alexandrovka. As you can see, the front line moves right on the top of this town, but the Russians were saying that they will manage to deal a lot of damage to these 28th mechanized brigade. They forced this brigade to leave this area, and as a result of that offensive attack from the Russian side, the Russians managed to reach the border of Nikolaev district. This is Alexandrovka. The Russians attacked, pushed the Ukrainians, and they moved towards this border. And the 28th Brigade were forced to move in the direction of Lupareva, this small town. If we take a look at the Western sources map, this is the area that the Russians managed to take according to this morning report. The first difference is that according to the Western sources, you see that Alexandrovka is still under Ukrainian control, but the Russians today said that they reached the border of Nikolaev district and the 28th Brigade moved to Lupareva, to this town. And this is very important because, as you know, starting from Lupareva, we can say that offensive operation in direction of Nikolaev starts, because using this road, using this coast, they are able to move using this road on the north, slowly, step by step, block by block, and to attack Nikolaev from the south. Another important update are coming from the, let's say, middle part of this area. You know that the Russians were talking about, and we talk about a lot about small town by the name of Blagodatnaya. But there are three towns in this area with the same name. This is Blagodatnaya, that located between Kherson and Nikolaev, right around Posad Pokrovska, this one, Blagodatnaya. Another Blagodatnaya is located on the north between Snegirivka and Nikolaev, this one, Blagodatnaya. And another Blagodatnaya is located, not Blagodatnaya, but Blagodatovka, this one. This almost the same title. This town is located on the bridgehead that Ukrainians used to have a few weeks ago, this one. So where is the truth, and what kind of Blagodatovka or Blagodatnaya the Russians were talking about? Furthermore, if you remember, there was like few updates about this town. So let's discuss, and today at least I got a lot of interesting updates, and I got a lot of information from different sources, and as I understood, the Russians were talking about two Blagodatovka or Blagodatnaya. First of all, there is Blagodatnaya that located between Snegirivka and Nikolaev, this one. And we talked about this Blagodatnaya a few days ago. If you remember, we discussed that the Russians started their offensive operation in this area, and they took this town, and the Ukrainians were forced to leave this area and move in direction of Partizanskaya. So that was some kind of true, and the Russians established control, got this town a few days ago. But today the Ministry of Defense were talking about this Blagodatovka, and as you can see, according to the Western sources map, this town is considered as the Russians, and there is no changes. But the Russians were saying that they started some recon combat in direction of Andreevka, and they start some massive shelling of this area, and as a result they forced the Ukrainians to leave this bridgehead or foothold, and they were forced to move this side of this Ingulets river, and they moved on this side of this river. So all this area is under Russian control. The Russians didn't say exactly that all these towns. They told that Andreevka, Blagodatovka, and the towns around this area is under Russian control. So I suppose that they were talking about this bridgehead. Maybe some territory is still under Ukrainians. So let's see and let's wait. I suppose that soon we're going to understand. Furthermore, the Russians in this particular area was fighting with this small icon 46th Air Assault Brigade, and this one 35th this Marine Corps, this one 35th Marine Corps Brigade. This force also stretched all along the front line. Furthermore, if we're talking about the Ukrainians, during this offensive operation, Russian offensive operation, they started some counter-offensive operation in direction of Vysokopolye. According to the Western sources map, you see that this town is considered as the town under Ukrainian control. But if you take a look at the Russian sources map, this town, Vysokopolye, is considered as the town under Russian control. As you can see, furthermore, the Russians has updated their map. Now you see that they're moving their front line a little bit to the north. So this is the difference between these two maps, between these two sources. But anyway, the Russians today didn't include information in the report. I got this information from some Russian sources that located in this area or have some connection with the forces that in this area. What kind of conclusion we can do according to this situation? You need to understand one thing, that all these three operations near Alexandrovka, near this Blagodatne, and near Andreevka and this Blagodatovka in this area, that weren't some kind of big offensive Russian operation. No, the Russians are saying that that was some kind of recon combat. But the thing is that during those recos in combat, Russians understood one thing, that the Ukrainians are no longer able to keep this area or something like this, or maybe they didn't have enough forces or enough equipment on exactly on these 3 points. And the Russians decided to develop their recon combat, and they started real offensive operation. And as a result of that offensive operations, they got control over 3 small towns, but anyway, on this area between Nikolaev and Kherson, where the distance is not so big, it's a very important fortified positions, and it's a very important bridgehead for further offensive operation in direction of Nikolaev. Now, another update from the Russians is about Donetsk, and to be more precise, about Marinka, this town. If we take a look at the map of this position, we see that the Russians, according to this map, control something around 20% of this fortification, of this fortified position. If we take a look at the Western sources map, you see that the Western sources map are saying that the Russians don't have any progress in this town. If you take a look at the Russian sources map, you're going to see that the Russians, according to this map, control something around 40%, and another 20% is in the gray zone. But according to the report of Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation, the Russians control more than 75% of this town, and that they're finishing the clearing operation of this town. So we can say that by this evening, the Russians controlled something like this of Marinka. This is one of the most fortified areas in this around Donetsk. It's the same fortification as Krasnogorovka, Pesky, and Avdiivka, these 4 fortifications. About other updates from Donetsk, today Donetsk was under very heavy shelling, the middle part, the government part, and the Ukrainians attacked with HIMARS and M777 howitzers. There were a lot of losses among civilians, and furthermore, why did they do this? The question is. And the thing is that today, after this shelling, the head of Russian parliament, we will discuss the Russian parliament one more time, the head of Russian parliament visited Donetsk. He was today right after this shelling. So I suppose that Ukrainians had some intelligence information about his visit, so maybe they decided and tried to get this man because they attacked exactly the office of head of DPR. So something like this. Now let's talk about other front lines, and today the Russians also reported about Kadema, this town. According to the Russian report, this town is encircled, is already in operational encirclement. The Russians said that forces in this town, the 214th battalion, is already blocked. They have no possibility to evacuate from this area, and we can understand why, because from all sides, the only one road is under cross artillery tank mortar fire, howitzer fire. So it's, of course, they are able to leave this area, but with big losses, and they continue pushing this area also from three sides. So I suppose that soon this town is going to fall, and we are going to receive another update about this area. By the way, this Kadema and Zaitsevo is two main fortification in this area, and by falling, if these two fortification falls, the Russians have possibility to start developing their offensive operation from the south in direction of Bakhmut. Furthermore, we got more and more updates that the Russians from Bakhmut, from this Zaitsevo bridgehead, are developing their offensive operation in direction of Kurdyumovka. Also, the Russians announced about town Zaitsevo that they entered, that they got the edge of this town, and that now they started maybe tomorrow, or maybe this day, they have already started offensive and clearing operation of this small town Zaitsevo. Now let's talk about the numbers, more updates about numbers. The Russians reported that they dealt some massive rocket attack in the area near Slaviansk. They attacked this 81st Air Mobile Brigade and this 95th Air Assault Brigade, and as a result of that attack, these two brigades together lost around 200 soldiers and something around 18 armored vehicles. Another important update from the south of Donetsk, from this area, from the small town Novomikhailivka. This is another famous area in this bridgehead, we could say. This Novomikhailivka is in the zone of responsibility of 66th Mechanized Brigade, and today the Russians said that 2nd Battalion, Mech Battalion of this brigade, lost its combat capability, and there was a lot of cases of desertion, and this battalion just left their position. If we compare the table, you're gonna see that this 66th Mechanized Brigade, since the previous week, according to the Russian reports, let's say from the 11th of August, it's like 12 days ago, since that period, this brigade lost something around 3,000 soldiers on this bridgehead between Mariinka, between Novomikhailivka, and this. So we understand why these forces left their position, because they just want to survive and they just want to live. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to die, of course. If we're talking about any other progress during this day, there are a lot of updates about some warehouses destroyed, something around 7 warehouses and fuel depot destroyed in this area, but there were no more progress and developing on the front line. And that's it about the ground and so on. Now let's discuss another important update, and let's continue our discussion about the Parliament, Russian Federation, and so on. As you know, tomorrow is the 24th of August, and tomorrow is the Independent Day of Ukraine. It's a very big holiday for the Ukrainians, but they have already started some silence period. For example, starting from today till the 25th of August, it's not allowed for civilians to walk, to be on the street in Kharkiv, and the same thing in Kiev as well. So the Ukrainians, it's a holiday, but they do all necessary thing to avoid casualties among civilians, because as far as I understand, the Ukrainians expecting rocket and artillery attack from the Russian side. And of course we can understand, because tomorrow is Independent Day, but today the Ukrainians are shelling and trying to ruin Donetsk central part. Today there was a lot of loss among civilians, so what should they expect for tomorrow? But the thing is that tomorrow is Independent Day, and if you remember, on the 25th of August, according to my information I have, the Russians are planning to start some urgent meeting of parliament, of their Russian parliament. Today we discussed that the head of Russian parliament and visited Donetsk. They have some discussion and so on. Official version of their discussion is that about the reconstruction of the Donetsk region and so on. But the thing is that if you remember in my previous video, I told you that my projection is that according to the Russian patterns, they're planning to do something very big and very important, because it's their pattern. First, the meeting of the parliament, and after that, the president as executor are going to do everything that the parliament decide the president should do. And the thing is that today more and more Russian sources, Russian Telegram channels, military specialists are showing and saying that the Russians on the 26th of July have submitted to the State Duma, their parliament, a bill on the recognition of Ukraine as a terrorist state. So I just found this update today. It's a real document, it's a real law, it's a real adoption. And maybe some sources are saying that maybe on the 25th of August, the Russians are planning to start the real voting for this law to recognize Ukraine as a terrorist state. My projection was about changing some nuke doctrine, because the Russians are not able to use anything on the other territory, just if there is some danger on the territory of Russian Federation. And we know that there are a lot of cases, a lot of things near Zaporozhye power plant, and if Ukrainians are able to destroy the power plant in Zaporozhye, the Russians need to adopt some laws if they want to do some asymmetric answer on this situation. But today a lot of sources, I'll repeat myself, are saying that maybe the Russians are planning to recognize Ukraine as a terrorist state. What does it mean for the Ukrainians? What does it mean? First of all, as you know, as you see, the Russians are not attacking, are not killing the authorities, official authorities in Ukraine. There were no cases about attacking Zelensky with the rockets or his buildings where he is working and so on. There were no cases about attacking, let's say, the mayor of Kharkiv or the mayor of Nikolaev and so on. But as soon as the Russians recognized Ukraine as a terrorist state, all these targets, all these people will be a legal target for the Russians, because they will be considered as a terrorist. So this is the thing that the Russians are talking about these days on their Telegram and the internet, in their internet area. But this adoption, this law has two sides of the coin. The first one for the Ukraine, and the second one for the rest of the world. What does it mean for the rest of the world if the Russians are going to recognize Ukraine as a terrorist state? First of all, we need to understand that every single country that supply and support Ukraine with weapon, money, with food and so on will be recognized as a countries who support terrorism. And this will give a legal power to the Russians to stop any trade or financial activities with these countries. In this scenario, my main projection that this side of this coin is for Germany, because we know that according to the updates we have about the Nord Stream and so on, sooner or later every single paragraph will be completed and the Russians will have to launch the gas to the Germany using the Nord Stream. But if by that time the Ukrainians will be recognized as a terrorist organization, and if Germany is going to support Ukraine with tanks, with money and so on, the Russians will have legal power to stop sending gas to supply Germany with gas, because Germany will be considered as a country who supports terrorist state. So maybe this is the scenario. So first of all, let's wait, because 25th of August is very soon, and we're gonna understand everything about the 25th of August. Maybe it's some kind of speculation, who knows, but I'm just trying to explain you the things that people in Russian segment of internet are talking about. Maybe just rumors, who knows. And that's it for today. A military summary channel reminds you that we condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching, subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Thank you, bye bye.